Yeah, so this particular term, a win-win, I believe it is derived from more fair market exchanges in the world of trade. Where Kevin, you might have a car, and I have money. I want the car, you want the money, and we do a deal. And in the market exchange, that's a clear, correct use of win-win, right? We both get what we want. But what I believe has happened with this term win-win has actually, it's been altered to describe almost any deal or negotiation as something that's advantageous or satisfactory in some way to all parties involved. But that's often an illusion. It suggests that something is a win-win. We both get what we want. It's actually often used in persuasion and propaganda to actually disguise the reality of what's really going on is an unfair exchange, actually a win-lose. So calling something a win-win is often intended to focus the loser or the real risk taker in the deal, not on their potential losses, but rather the possibility that there's at least a slim chance of something to be gained, whether it could be financial, psychological, interpersonal, or relational. So, if somebody says, "Hey, gee, Dan, thanks for donating your 1957 Corvette convertible to the charity," and I'm sure it was difficult for you to part with that, but surely it's a win-win for the charity and your reputation in the industry. But people like to use this win-win to shuffle aside this undesired attention to the unfair exchange that might be going on or underlying. So it sounds great because what could be wrong with doing well with doing good and then doubling it, right? So what could be wrong with philanthropic capitalism and so-called double bottom line or triple bottom lines for the environment or societal initiatives? But in reality, it's really a disguise that someone is winning and someone is actually losing. Because if I can pitch the loss for you and the win for me as a win-win, then I can actually get you to be more likely to buy what it is that I'm selling. But it's often used as a convenient term of an illusion, but it's really nothing more than that. It's very unlikely that there's going to be an equal exchange unless we're doing sort of a fair market, sort of trade. But as soon as you move sort of the objects outside of sort of fair trade, like where it's something, maybe your gain is psychological or relational, where mine is something tangible. It's much easier to get away, I think, with the win-win language, because people accept that because they want to feel good about the trade. But oftentimes it's not fair.
I love that analysis. I don't know whether this is always going to be the case, but you sound more cynical about this one than I was going to be. I had a lot of fun researching this one. And of course, you never know when you research these things, trying to track down, which I've been trying to do for the next book, the Bullshit Free book, is where do these phrases start? Where on earth do they come from? And I found this reference to a guy called Victor Barranco, who apparently was a founder of a utopian community in California in the 60s, which they called Lafayette Morehouse, for reasons that are lost in the mists of time. And this guy was so idealistic that his definition was simply a broad statement of, well, everybody here gets everything they want. Everybody does, in an egalitarian sense. But I can't find anything at all that links that to what you might call modern business vernacular. which is exactly what you describe, is where people say, this will be a win-win. It's definitely be a win-win. Whereas what they really mean is it's a win-lose, but they want to wrap it up as a win-win, which is essentially what you're saying, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's a bit of a shocker, really, this one, because sometimes when people are in a very desperate, let's say, sales situation, you can hear a perturbed sales director saying, come on, guys, we've got to turn this into a win-win, which essentially means that the starting point is we're losing really badly. What can we scrabble and get hold of so that we can just about call this a win-win, so that we don't lose all our jobs? So on the one hand, you've got an exploitative person who's taking your money but calling it a win for you as well. And then you've got other people that are desperately trying to exhort sort of sales teams and things to say, oh my God, we're losing horribly here. Can we turn it into a win-win? And so those two sides of an equation, I think, are quite hilarious. The final one that I think, and I've heard this since, and I don't know if you have, and I'm completely baffled by it, is now people are using this as a triple version and saying, oh, well, this is clearly a win-win-win.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at that and thinking, I don't know what you're talking about. Have you got any idea?
Yeah, I think it does align a bit with your first description too, where I believe what happens is oftentimes maybe a deal is made, or some investment is made, or some sunk costs are incurred. And then there's this attempt to rationalize by finding what's called a silver lining. So yes, we lost a lot of money on the investment, but we improved our reputation in the industry, or we made some relationships. Those are the silver linings. And then as time unfolds, the silver lining is magnified and elevated to something that is actually worth the cost, And so it's like, okay, it's not just a silver lining. Yeah, like it's actually something that was worth investing in, even though we lost a lot. So it's I think it evolves over time. And then there's this search for, well, are there other silver linings? Are there other ways that we can feel better about this, this investment that really didn't pan out as well as we had hoped? I think that's what is going on. And that's where you might find multiple silver linings. And, oh yes, it's the investment, but it's good for the environment. It's very green, but that may not have been the initial purpose or intention, but you can find it in retrospect.
Yeah, really nice post-rationalization. And isn't it interesting, in passing, by the way, how silver keeps turning up? I mean, people are trying to find silver linings when everything's gone horribly wrong, and they're perpetually in search of a silver bullet. So there's a lot of that going on as well. Less gold, I think, sometimes.